Hey guys, this video is going to show you how to solve one-step linear equation. And around the sides are just a bunch of examples of different one-step linear equations you might find. In a one-step problem, there is one variable you are trying to get by itself. And remember, a variable is a letter. It could be X or Y, or it could be V or S or T, or really any letter. To get the variable by itself, which is solving the equation, you will need to either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So you might wonder, how do you know which of those to perform? You need to do the opposite of what you see being done in the equation. So if the equation has addition, you're going to do the opposite and subtract. If the equation has subtraction, you're going to add. If the equation has multiplication, you'll divide, and if the equation has division, you will multiply. Let's look at a few examples. Here's example number 1. We have the equation x plus 5 equals 10. So I look at the operation that's being done in the equation, and I see that it is addition. So I'm going to ask myself, what's the opposite of addition? And that answer is subtraction. So I know to solve it for x, I need to do the opposite of adding 5, which would be subtracting 5. And since I subtract 5 from the left side, whatever you do to one side, you always have to do to the other side of an equation. So I also need to subtract 5 from the 10. Okay, so a plus 5 and a minus 5 will cancel out, leaving us with just the x on the left-hand side. And then we do the math of 10 minus 5, and that is equal to 5. So I came up with the solution of x equals 5. Now I'm going to plug that back in the original equation and just check my work to make sure I have the correct answer. So if I have x plus 5 is equal to 10, I'm going to substitute 5 in for x. That's the answer I got. 5 plus 5 is 10. And 10 is equal to 10. So I know that x equals 5 is the correct answer. Here's our second example. 11 equals r minus 4. So here is our variable. We're trying to get that by itself, so I'm looking to see what's being done to it. In this example, we're doing a minus 4. So what's the opposite of minus 4? That would be plus 4. And whatever you do to one side, you always have to do to the other as well. Got to make things equal on both sides. So now our 4's cancel on the right side. It's just going to leave us with r. And 11 plus 4 on the left is 15. So again, let's check our answer just to be sure. I'm going to plug 15 in for the r. And then simplify. 15 minus 4 is 11. 11 is equal to 11, so 15 is the correct answer to this equation. Okay, now we have our third example. 18 is equal to negative 2a. Remember, if you don't see a sign in between the negative 2 and the a in this case, that means you're multiplying. So I'm going to stick a little multiplying dot in there. So again, you need to ask yourself, what's the opposite of multiplying by negative 2? That would be to divide by negative 2. So I'm going to show division by writing it kind of like a fraction. I'm dividing both sides by negative 2. So the negative 2's will cancel, leaving just a. And on the left side, 18 divided by negative 2 would be negative 9. Let's check this. So I'm going to have negative 2 times negative 9. Negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. That's equal to positive 18, so we do have the correct answer. Okay, here's our last example we're going to do together. We have y over 7, or y divided by 7, equals 12. So this equation is showing we are dividing y by 7. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I'm just going to rewrite that equation and then show that I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. So the 7's cancel on the left, leaving us with y. And then on the right, 12 times 7 is 84. So let's check this. Substituting in 84 for the y. And 84 divided by 7 is 12. That equals 12. So y equals 84 was correct. I'm going to show you one other variation you might see in this type of problem, and that is with a fraction. So if we have negative 3/8 t is equal to negative 6, we need to get rid of that fraction to get the t by itself. So this example is saying that negative 3/8 is being multiplied by t, again because I don't see any signs in between them. So what I need to do is to divide by negative 3/8. Well, if you think back to middle school, when you divide by a fraction, you really flip it and you multiply it. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. And I'm going to flip this fraction that I'm dividing. I'm going to keep its sign though. So it's going to turn into negative 8/3, and I'm going to multiply that by both sides. If it helps, you can turn that negative 6 into a fraction by putting a 1 under it. Okay, so now our fractions cancel each other out, leaving us with t. And then when you multiply fractions, remember you go straight across, so negative 6 times negative 8 is positive 48. On the bottom, 1 times 3 is 3. And then we can further simplify that by doing 48 divided by 3. And that is 16. So remember, if you're multiplying by a fraction and you need to divide it, you need to flip it and then multiply it by the other side. Okay, here is your check for understanding. There are 4 one-step equations to go ahead and solve. Make sure you check your answers before you do your practice.